Good afternoon and welcome to CAN TV Cable 21. My name is Lucy Aquino and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Hispanocare, Inc., a program of Advocate Illinois Masonic Medical Center. And today we have, as you know, a live call-in show. The lines are now open. The telephone number is at the bottom of your screen. Today's topic, a very important one, that our viewers really need to listen closely and learn a lot about. Because it's not something you hear too much about, and if you do, it's not really understood. So let's talk more about it. With me today, our topic is bone marrow donation, and we invite our viewers to call in with any questions you may have. Joining me is Terry Hayden. Thank you, Terry, for being on the show. And Terry is a community engagement representative with ICLA, the Silva Foundation. And later on, Meritus Kamek will be joining us as well. And Meritus comes to us from, she's the manager of the Critical Cancer Center at Advocate Illinois Masonic Medical Center for the Center of Advanced Care. So again, welcome to the show, Terry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Such an important topic. You know, as we were speaking earlier, we talked a little bit about bone marrow, obviously. And it's surprising to know that approximately 70% of all patients in need of bone marrow transplants must find a matching donor outside of their family. That's very interesting for those who are watching. And you would think that because if it's a family member who's donating, that connection can be, those numbers can be much higher. And they're not. So Terry, before we move on and talking about the importance of bone marrow donation and why we need to do what we need to do, can you tell us a little bit about ICLA?
I will. The ICLA de Silva Foundation is the largest recruitment center for the Be the Match Registry. And the Be the Match Registry exists because 70% of patients need to look outside their family to find that life-saving bone marrow donor. So ICLA recruits over 38,000 potential donors for the registry each year. And so the foundation began basically a young girl from Brazil, Igla. She was diagnosed with leukemia, and her family brought her to New York to seek treatment. So she needed a bone marrow transplant to survive. For 3 years, they were in New York searching for a donor, a matching donor, and unfortunately, Igla passed away. She never found that donor. Her dying wish, she wrote a note to her family, a heartbreaking note that said, you know, please don't worry about me, but please, you know, help my friends. And by the friends, she was talking about the other children that she met in the hospital who were also looking for matches. So that's how the foundation began. And the foundation has 2 missions. One is to educate the public about the bone marrow registry and recruit as many people as possible to join the registry with an emphasis on minority communities, and also to support patients and families, you know, of leukemia and other diseases that are treated by bone marrow transplants.
Okay. So Terry, who might need a bone marrow donation? Well, I mean, we talk about that all the time, but who actually may need one?
Okay, so a person who would need a bone marrow donation would be someone who is suffering from a number of diseases that causes their bone marrow basically not to work. An unhealthy bone marrow that needs to be basically replaced with new bone marrow. That's what a transplant does. So a number of diseases often require a bone marrow transplant. That would include blood cancers such as leukemia and lymphoma, multiple myeloma, diseases such as aplastic anemia, Fanconi anemia, sickle cell anemia, and a number of different types of immunologic disorders as well.
Okay, and I know that a bone marrow transplant is a procedure to replace damaged or destroyed marrow, which is that soft, fatty tissue that's within the bone. So when someone is going for a donation or wanting to do a donation, first of all, let's talk about the age limits. Are there age limits for someone wanting to make a donation?
So that's a good question. So the ages that are recruited for donation would be between 18 and 44. 18 because it's a legal age of consent for a medical procedure, and the reason it goes to 44 is because doctors have found in 95% of the time those are the donors that are selected. Now, if someone is over the age of 44, they can join but it's highly unlikely that they would be selected, and there's actually a fee to join at that age. And then a person who joins the registry is on until they are 61 years old, and then they're removed.
And you're saying they have to pay a fee, and why is that?
Okay, it costs the registry $100 per person to place them on the registry. So that is covered, that fee is covered by the National Marrow Donor Program. It's covered by Be the Match between the ages of 18 and 44, because that's where the majority of the matches come from. So a person would have to pay that $100 on their own if they chose to join, above the age of 44. Since there's a very small chance that they would be selected at that age, usually we don't encourage that, but it's their choice if they would like to do so.
But obviously, we're looking for that donor age at the age between 18 and 44.
18 and 44 is that's what we're looking for,
right.
Absolutely.
And of course, with that, there is no monetary fee that they have to pay for that.
There is no monetary fee to be on the registry, and there is no fee for any part of the process if a person goes on to be a donor. So that means absolutely everything, including if they need an Uber to get to an appointment, if they need a babysitter for their kids, everything is covered by Be the Match.
I want to bring this up over a little bit on our overhead of a drive that's actually coming up, that we're doing this drive. And so can we talk a little bit about these drives that are actually taking place?
Absolutely. There are two drives coming up on December 22nd. There's one at Illinois Masonic Medical Center and another one at Good Samaritan Health and Wellness Center. And basically anyone who's interested in joining the registry can come to those drives, and do we want to show them what will happen, or go through the list?
Right.
And then in January, after the new year, on the 4th and the 5th, there are 2 drives at Northwest Community Hospital as well.
That's fantastic. So we have several drives that are taking place in different locations throughout the city, and obviously, we need you out there. Please, please consider being a donor. So as we move forward, what are some, I know that every now and then, well, often you hear there are obstacles to donors. Can you talk a little bit about that? What obstacles?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, many people have a lot of fear associated with being a bone marrow donor. They, I talk to groups of people and I say, so what do you all think when you hear about bone marrow donation? And people are like, pain, it's going to hurt, it's going to be scary. And unfortunately, those are all myths. A lot of it has been perpetuated. There have been some, TV shows and movies that have portrayed it incorrectly. And so it's really a matter of educating the public and explaining that the process is really quite simple, and there is not, a large amount. There isn't pain involved, and it's really easy. And once people understand how easy it is and that it's not a scary procedure, usually they're very enthusiastic to sign up and join the registry.
Absolutely. Well, we have this wonderful clip that you were kind enough to ask us to pull up and share, and I think our viewers would really appreciate watching this clip. So please bear with us a second, and we're going to play this clip for you.
It has made such a difference in our lives. I don't think anyone can imagine, unless you have a child going through an illness and you look at your child lying there on a hospital bed and there's absolutely nothing you can do, and they're saying, Mommy, please make it stop. Mommy, rub my arm. Mommy, rub my back. Mommy, please make it stop. And there's absolutely nothing you can do. I was always so worried that the next pain crisis is right around the corner. And when he goes in the hospital, are we going to be able to bring him home afterwards? Is he going to be able to survive it? We've had to do that 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, rushed him to the hospital, and the entire time he's screaming in the back seat of the car, please, I'm in pain, Mommy, do something, make them do something for me. And to be able to do something as simple as give bone marrow to save someone else, and maybe you're down for a day, but to save someone else's life.
I feel great.
Yeah?
I get to do everything that I've been wishing to do.
My husband and I are so grateful to this young man for thinking about someone else other than himself, other than, he probably, could have said, I don't want to do this, or I'm going to be sick, or I'm going to be down for a day. But no, he didn't, and we are so grateful for that.
Yo te voy a estar ayudando.
Le salvé la vida a este chico y si tengo que hacerlo 1000 veces más, lo haría con gusto. Eso es lo más lindo que uno puede hacer, salvarle la vida a otro, ¿verdad? Y Dios me dio esta oportunidad y si me la diera de nuevo para salvarle la vida a otro chico, lo haría con mucho honor y honra, en verdad.
I like to thank my donor for donating marrow to letting me be able to do all the things that me and my friends do and play like I couldn't play before when I had sickle cell. Thank you.
Just truly amazing. And we had $1 million, it wouldn't be enough to thank you.
If I could thank you from the bottom of my heart, it wouldn't be enough, because for you, my heart has no bottom. Thank you so much. You have really been a blessing to us. Thank you.
So moving. Such a moving video. And this is something that I know you see in your line of work all the time. So moving. If you would consider being a donor, please join us. We cannot ask you enough to consider that. What life can you save? Who can you save? Friend? Family? Join us. Again, I want to just bring over our drive dates that are coming up. And so let me bring that up again and let you know that we do have these drives that are taking place.
We do. We have 3 opportunities coming up to actually come out and participate in a bone marrow drive. It's very simple. You fill out a consent form and you do a cheek swab. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah,
How absolutely.
absolutely. Why don't we show, I know you have a package there. You can show that too.
So just to show you, this is no medical procedure. It takes about 40 seconds to join the registry. These are swabs. I could open one.
Yeah.
I could show you. This is what you would do at a drive. You open up the swab. If I could get it out. There you go.
There you go.
So there you go. There's a cheek swab. You swab. Open your mouth, you swab the inside of your cheek for about 10 seconds. You do that 4 times, and you're on the registry, and that's it. You're basically getting your cheek cells so we can get that tissue type to see if you match a patient. And what happens is it goes into a database, and doctors are able to search the database
Right.
to see if you're a match for somebody. And it is that simple. And you fill out.
There is a form that we need to complete. You can show it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's a very simple, it's a consent form, and it's just basically information, contact information, where, Be the Match can find you if you are someone's match. And it's simple. The entire process takes 10 minutes or less to complete, and you can save someone's life.
Absolutely.
Each and every ordinary person, we all have the power to really save a life.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, Terry, let me just go back here really quick. And I know there's just so much that we want to cover today. So let me bring this up. And again, for anyone who has questions or who wants to put a drive together, they can give you a call, correct?
Absolutely. And what Icla de Silva does, and what I do, we will host drives anywhere with anyone. You have to contact me if you have a church, a community organization, your company, a school, a college. If you want to get a bunch of people together at your house, we will come and set up a drive in your house, and it's that simple.
That's awesome. Well, Terry, thank you so much for actually being with us today on the show. And again, I wanna reiterate the number of drives that are actually taking place.
Absolutely.
Okay? And again, Advocate Illinois Masonic Medical Center, Thursday, December 22nd, as well as the Advocate Good Samaritan Health and Wellness Center is taking place at 3551 Highland Avenue in Downers Grove. Northwest Community Hospital on Wednesday, January 4th, and Thursday, January 5th. And next, we're going to talk about Andrew. And with me today, as I mentioned earlier, we have Meritus, and I have the pleasure of working with Meritus Kamek, the manager of our cancer center, actually Advanced Center of Specialty Care. And Meritus, I look at you and I just want to cry because you just do such wonderful work. Meritus, let's talk about Andrew.
Thanks for having us, Lucy. Andrew's actually a young father of 2 young girls who are below the age of 9. He's also the loving husband of one of our doctors, Dr. Joanna Maurice, who's helped hundreds of patients and families at 2 of our hospitals. We come to you today to ask us to ask you to please join us in learning more about how to become a bone marrow registered donor, not only to help Andrew but to help others. One of the things that we wanted to touch upon today was the disparity in the bone marrow registry for minorities. Currently, the National Registry has 62% Caucasian donors, while 10% of donors are Hispanics, 6% are Asian, 6% are Black, and 4% are folks of mixed race origin. What does that mean? That means that someone who is Caucasian has a 97% chance of finding a match. That means someone of Asian descent, like Andrew, has a 72% match. Andrew is Filipino, and so while we're targeting the Filipino community, ages 18 to 44, we're also helping to find a match for other patients that are waiting. There can be thousands of patients waiting at a given time for a match, and this is a great way for us to reach out to those patients as well.
If you were asking anyone to do anything special, what are we asking? I know that we have the 2 drives that are coming by. And Terry showed us how simple it was to do that.
Yes.
Can we walk us through that process again?
Yes, so as Terry mentioned, testing to be a match doesn't require any blood tests. It really requires swabbing the inside of your cheek and filling out a very brief medical questionnaire. And it takes about 10 minutes. If you're unable to attend one of our drives, because we know Chicago's a big city, there's also an option to do this online, which is actually what I did. I went online on the Be The Match website, and I registered there and received my kit within a week. I did my swabs at home and then mailed it back to Be The Match.
Wow.
And if there's something that I can ask everybody to do today, is to just go on the website, on the Be The Match website, and learn more about it. Learn more about the folks that need your help, and learn more about all the good that you can do in terms of considering becoming a registered donor, not just for the patients that need us today, but the patients and families that will need us for years to come.
Can't say enough about that. I mean, we don't have enough of there are so many different cultures and diversity that's out there. And yet, you can have hundreds of thousands of registries, but these are changing every day. People are dropping off, people are coming on,
Yes.
people are getting older. And these are things that are happening all the time.
Absolutely.
It's an ongoing process. What else can you tell us about? I know that the one that's taking place at Illinois Masonic, that's coming up December 22nd. Where are people going to for that?
So we'll take folks, there's a conference room behind one of our cafes, but if you come to either one of our 2 main entrances, we'll have folks take you to a small conference room where we'll have the questionnaires and the donation possible to become registered donors.
That's fantastic. Again, I want to thank you so much, Meritus, for being here and
Thank you.
explain this little bit of this. And I know that we can sit here and we can just keep talking about this, but the reality is, let's get up and do something about it. Let's help a neighbor. Let's help a friend. Let's help that family who needs us. Because by saving one life and that person saving another, it's a domino effect. So many lives can be saved by this, and so many other things. And not just Andrew, but so many others who are in need. And we never know when that's going to hit home. So it's definitely something to think about. If there's one thing you're doing this holiday season, and something you really want to do to give something back, do this. The simplest thing to do with a few seconds swab. And it's all it takes.
Yes.
So I want to remind our viewers again, and again, thank you so much for coming out. But let me remind our viewers again about what this is taking place. And Advocate Illinois Masonic on December 22nd, and Advocate Good Samaritan Health and Wellness Center that's taking place on the same time. Masonic from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Advocate Good Samaritan They're taking place from 9 a.m. to 3, Northwest Community Hospital, January 4th and 5th. So, coming back to Terry. Terry, thanks for coming back. I know that one of the other things that I want to talk to you about really quick, too, is that a donor really never knows when they're going to get called, right? Or if they even get called.
That's a good point.
All right.
So when you do your swabs and send in your form, you'll be on the registry. That does not mean that you're ever going to get called or that you're ever going to be a donor. Basically, 1 in 430 people who join the registry will go on to donate throughout the course of their lifetime. So you might get the call, maybe you'll get the call in a year, maybe you'll get the call in 10 years,
Right.
maybe 15 years, maybe never.
And when that call comes in, what are the next steps?
Okay, so the first thing that would happen, you would be asked to provide go take a blood test, give a blood sample. And that is so, the doctors can determine how good of a match you are. They want to find a donor who is an 80 to 100% match for a patient. So the first step would be a blood test. And then if you're determined to be a good match, after that, you would go to an orientation, an informational session. And there you would learn everything you need to know about the whole donation process. Once that is complete, you would go, you'd have a physical examination, and then you would go on to donate. And all of this would be spread out. It would be spread out over a 4 to 6 week period of time. So it's not, a huge time commitment all at once.
I know one of the things I get asked often when we talk about donor drives and things like that, and especially in bone marrow, people are always asking, can I select the person I want to give it to?
It's a really good
Okay.
question. So, when you join the registry, you're really joining, being willing to donate to any patient who is in need. Oftentimes, families will organize drives together to support a given patient, and obviously it's fine to join the registry sort of when you're rallying behind a patient, but everyone who joins, you should be willing to donate to anyone.
Absolutely. Saving a life. That's all that
Absolutely.
matters, right? Let's save that life.
Absolutely.
So, Terry, what are some of the biggest obstacles to adding new donors? I mean, that's something that we talked about, wanting to get them involved. But after they've gone through all these steps, and I know we're constantly going out there and asking, but what are the things actually come to play in this?
Well, really, as I mentioned before, a big part of it is education and understanding the process. I think another issue is just understanding why it's important now. Oftentimes people wait until they're personally affected or their families are impacted. If a loved one is diagnosed with leukemia, then they rally the community and the church and then again everyone together. It's really more of an issue, of being more proactive instead of reactive.
Right.
And that's how we can build the base. And it's really just understanding the process, like I said before, understanding that it is quite simple and that it's not a scary process. And if you ask people who've gone on to donate what the experience was like, most of them are say, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
It was easy, and to give someone their life back, to give someone's mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter back, they say it was absolutely nothing. It was maybe a day out of my life, and it was worth it.
Absolutely. Saving a life, I have not done that, and at least not personally at this level, and all I can tell you is that just thinking about it, that feeling that you get about helping someone and being able to do that for them, there's no better feeling than that. So I want to end up, our time here goes by so fast here, and we can talk about this, right? And we can keep on going. But I do want to bring this back up on the screen. And for Andrew's Drive, obviously, again, you can go on to the internet, and this is where they can go, Terry?
Absolutely. What they would do is they would go on, they would enter this site right here, and what would happen is they would enter all of their information. Basically, like the consent form would be online, so they would enter all of their information and contact information right here. Then Be the Match would send them the swab kit in the mail. They would do the swabs and they would send it back.
Can't get easier than that.
It cannot.
I cannot. Terry, again, thank you so much for coming out and sharing.
No, thank you so
information.
much for having me and for bringing this much needed awareness.
Well, we want to have you back because there's still a whole lot more to talk about. So on that note, I want to remind our viewers that thanks to the improvements in prevention, early detection, and treatment, millions of people in the United States themselves can count on being survivors because of what this has done, these types of treatment, this type of technology, new medicines and all of that. But if you're one of the lucky ones that becomes a match for a patient, there are ways you can donate. And of course, as mentioned earlier, please do what you can. On behalf of my colleagues at Hispanocare, at Advocate, Illinois Masonic Medical Center, Terry, Meritus, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing such important information. And of course, to our viewers, thank you for listening. We'd like to wish you a happy holiday to you and yours. Be safe out there. Stay warm. Until next time, we'll see you next year in 2017. See you soon. Bye-bye.